Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Joy News today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemiri on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. We are a home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in an emergency meeting to determine the fate of kidney patients as they begin to roll out the free renal service for those eligible. We're live at the hospital for details of the ongoing meeting, plus the condition of patients. Also this afternoon, we'll tell you why over 13% of Ghana's population suffer some form of psychiatric illness. As it emerges, mental cases in the country are seeing a rise owing to habitual craving for gambling and abuse of illicit drugs by young people.
Which was led by a psychiatrist from the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, showed that 3.1% are engaged in gambling activities.
Plus, efforts to reclaim degraded lands and intensifies as 10 million trees are being planted across the country today.
Preserving our forests and adopting sustainable agriculture and land use practices have a high potential to combat climate change through carbon sequestration.
Member of Parliament's Land and Forestry Committee is criticizing government's Green Ghana project, calling it out for its inadequate approach, lack of transparency, and minimal impact on the environment. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X Spaces at Joy News on TV. My personal handle is @Nana Aisha. Please do stay for details. In light of the unsettled issues related to the provision of free renal services at some hospitals across the country, the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital is currently holding an urgent meeting with top hospital administrators to discuss lingering challenges surrounding the delivery of the free renal service announced by the National Health Insurance Authority. The NHIA, in its efforts to improve access to dialysis treatment, issued a directive to provide free renal services, including hemodialysis, to insured persons suffering from the chronic kidney disease. Although the hospital has received official communication from the Ministry of Health and the NHIA, several factors impede the seamless integration of the program. Management is currently in a crunch meeting to decide on the rollout. My colleague Nana Boacheyadom joins us from the hospital with details. Nana, the hospital has an official directive from the NHIA. So what triggered the emergency meeting?
Well, Aisha, before the hospital can make a determination to roll out the free renal services for kidney patients at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, a lot of things or a lot of measures has to be put in place. Now, the major thing that they are considering is the cost of the dialysis treatment. Well, at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, a cost per session is 597.50 Ghana, that's Ghana cedis. And the hospital is thinking of how to absorb this cost and in a way to make sure that they are able to carry out the initiative in a way which would not affect the finance of the hospital. They would have to hold this emergency meeting to make sure that they have a number of patients who come into the hospital. They have the database of every particular patient who come in for this renal service, so as to make sure that the finances would not go into the account of the hospital, but directly absorbed by the National Health Insurance Authority.
So what are you picking from the meeting so far, Nana?
Well, one thing that we are picking is that the hospital is not starting the rollout this day, which is today, despite having the directive from the National Health Insurance Authority and the Ministry of Health. Well, the rollout is expected to begin somewhere on Monday, although they have the official communication. Well, that is what we are picking from the meeting as it's currently ongoing. Well, the Deputy Medical Director, who I spoke to before getting into the meeting, told us that it all has to do with the financing of this free renal service. Although they have the official communication from the Ministry of Health and the National Health Insurance Authority, it becomes very difficult for them to make a determination on rolling out, because the Komfo Teaching Hospital has a number of dialysis patients or renal kidney patients who come in frequently. Now, their daily session or the numbers that they receive daily continue to increase even after the announcement of this rollout. And so they have to make a critical determination on this particular issue, hence the need to have this emergency meeting. And so what we are picking now is that the hospital would not have the treatment for the patient today, but then from Monday, it would be ongoing.
You visited the renal unit. What is the condition of patients as we speak now? Because yesterday you said that they had not started. Today, what's the condition?
Well, it is not different from what we reported yesterday. It is still the same. The patients are worried about the cost. One man that we spoke to yesterday says he has been there twice this week. And since he came in, he has been making the payments himself, which is very, very worrying to him. One person that we didn't speak to is within the range, that is in between 18 to 59. And she is also complaining that the National Health Insurance Authority and the Ministry of Health and government in general should also improvise and make sure that the 2-month session for people in between 18 and 59 could be increased in a way. Well, most of these patients that we did speak to are worried about the cost of the dialysis treatment, and then the fact that it has been announced as a free session for them, but they still have to bear the cost.
Nana Boachie is a man in the Ashanti region, Kumasi, monitoring this issue at the Komfo Teaching Hospital for us. We'll bring you more as and when we get it, especially from this emergency meeting in our subsequent bulletins. Now, still on health, over 13% of Ghana's population suffer some form of psychiatric illness. A study by the Komfo Teaching Hospital has revealed mental cases in the country are seeing a rise owing to habitual craving for gambling and abuse of illicit drugs by young people. Experts are admonishing young people to open up about their addictions as a step toward being mentally relieved. Reports have been joined by... We'll see that report from Kumasi shortly, and we'll also be speaking with Dr. Isaac Newman. Right now, let's see what doctors say about mental illness in Ghana.
Gambling and betting among the youth in contemporary Ghana have been identified as means of coping with social and economic challenges and as a form of leisure, but they are also a recipe for mental trauma. Gamblers and substance abusers experience noticeable obsessions that lead them into a state of despair. A study from the Komfo Teaching Hospital has ascertained the growing trend. Professor Pinaman Apew is the chief executive of the Mental Health Authority.
Our youth face increasing rates of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, behavioral addictions such as gambling, and attempted suicides. For instance, one study, which was led by a psychiatrist from the Komfo Teaching Hospital, involving 5,024 children aged between 8 and 17 years from 3 regions in Ghana, showed that 3.1% are engaged in gambling activities. This, ladies and gentlemen, is worrying.
Breaking the silence, a phrase championed in the Mental Health Awareness Month, connotes people opening up about their issues that alter their correct thoughts and behavior. Wife of the Asante Hene, Lady Julia Oseitu, partnered the KNUST, Komfo Teaching Hospital, and Eve Medical Foundation to upstage a public engagement session on mental health dubbed "It is okay to influence positive responses to mental health issues." Meanwhile, the head of the psychiatric department at CAT, Dr. Ruth Owusuentwi, is decrying the inadequate mental health experts in the country.
Year by year, as we read our performance review, we realize that new cases we are seeing are going up. It's not a bad thing. It's probably because people are becoming aware and coming in. It's sad to say that there are just about 70 psychiatrists to over 30 million Ghanaians. If we don't take care, the psychiatrists themselves will break down. And so we want to appeal to the government to help us train more people, all cadre of mental health professionals, from psychiatrists, mental health nurses, psychologists, social workers, occupational therapists, all cadre of mental health professionals. We want the government to support the training institutions to churn out many of them so that they can support the many Ghanaians.
In the midst of rising cases, the forum offered education to students on better understanding of mental health issues and appropriate quarters to seek help. Vice-Chancellor of KNUST, Professor Rita Akusia-Dixon, urged students and young people to speak up about mental health issues.
We must, it's a must, volunteer to be advocates for mental health. So the month of May will end.
We apologize for the break in sound, but I've been joined by Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur. He's a clinical psychologist on this. Is there a particular reason why there is increasing habitual craving for gambling and abuse of illicit drugs by young people, Doc? Doc, kindly unmute for me.
So, please, I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
So, when it comes to mental health related issues, including gambling or addictions, there are multiple factors. Some people have some genetic risk for some mental health problems. And again, to behavioral stuff and also some substances we call psychoactive substances are addictive by nature. So it doesn't matter who gets involved. No matter the fact that you start it, you're going to become addicted to it. So things like alcohol, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, behavioral things like pornography, masturbation, gambling and stuff, those things have the capacity to cause changes in the brain so that now the person becomes addicted to it. So it doesn't matter whether you are a pastor or you are a professor or a psychologist. The moment you get involved, you're on your way to an addiction. And usually behind every addictive behavior is a suffering person, because people use addictive behaviors to cope with life. And so they may be having financial problems, traumatic events from childhood, such as abuse, neglect. They may be having some boredom, some challenges with purpose and their career, or any life stresses at all. And some mental health issues like depression, anxiety, stress, bipolar, and all those things increases a person's risk of some addictive behaviors and mental health in general.
So you talk about behind every mental case is a person suffering. How then do we identify these people and actually give them the kind of help they need?
So there are various things. Anybody going through any challenge is likely to be going through some mental health problem. So usually mental health issues affect a person's thinking, feelings, and behavior. So if someone has a thinking or feelings or behavior that is affecting the person's life negatively, it's a sign that they may have some underlying mental health problems. And there are various mental disorders, and each one of them has its own unique symptoms. But generally for mental disorders, if someone has a thinking or feelings or behavior that is impairing their functioning, they are not able to form and maintain meaningful relationships, they are not able to cope with life, they are not able to have a positive perception about themselves, they are not able to pursue their goals in life, they are not able to live independently or contribute meaningfully to society, it's likely they have some mental health problems. And generally, sometimes, you can actually go to the hospital and through some screening, there are all kinds of mental health screening that can be done to ascertain a person's mental well-being. So these things can be done to know whether someone has a mental health related problem.
Dr. Newman Arthur, what's the plan of the Psychiatric Society of Ghana to actually help in dealing with this situation?
Yeah, well, I am not part of Psychiatric Society of Ghana. I'm part of Ghana Psychological Association. I'm their PRO, and I also work at University of Professional Studies, their clinic. But when it comes to Ghana Psychological Association, I think all other associations, including Psychiatric Association, I think what we are doing now is to create some awareness, on mental health issues and also point people to the right help. So I think that is what we have been involved in, and we're together with the Mental Health Authority and others, mental health bodies. This has been done extensively. The whole of last month, which was the Mental Health Month, a lot of sensitization and education was done at various parts of the country. So these are some of the things, and also advocating for the NHIS covering mental health related problems and government increasing training of professionals and those things. Those things are being done by most of the associations, including Ghana Psychological Association.
Grateful for your time, Dr. Isaac Newman-Arthur. He is a clinical psychologist, and he's been telling us how we can reduce the number of mental cases. Let's get on to other stories. Efforts to reclaim degraded lands across the country has intensified as 10 million trees are being planted across the country today. The efforts as part of the annual Green Ghana project aims at restoring Ghana's depleted forest cover and contributing to the global fight against climate change. Since 2021, the government has planted almost 42 million trees in degraded forest reserves and other off-reserve areas as part of the initiative. President Akufo-Addo, who planted a tree at Bema Camp today to commemorate this year's program, was hopeful Ghana's landscape will not suffer from the effects of climate change like other countries in the world.
Today, our world stands at a critical juncture, grappling with the triple planetary crisis of climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. These issues are being exacerbated even further by deforestation, desertification, and land and soil degradation. Amongst these, climate change remains the most urgent, posing a great threat to our world and the lives and livelihoods of our people. Earlier this year, South Sudan was forced to close its schools due to extreme heat waves. There are fears that the Horn of Africa may become uninhabitable in the coming years due to these severe weather conditions. The impact of the other crises is equally alarming. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, air pollution is responsible for some 6.7 million deaths annually, with 9 out of 10 people worldwide breathing air that contains pollutants above the WHO's recommended levels. Similarly, the loss of biodiversity poses a significant threat to our planet, with the decline and extinction of animals, plants, and ecosystems, leading to disasters, diseases, and deaths. However, science tells us that forests play a critical role in sustaining life on Earth and addressing these triple planetary crises. Here in Ghana, for example, activities related to agriculture, forest, and land use contribute some 50% of our national greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, preserving our forests and adopting sustainable agriculture and land use practices have a high potential to combat climate change through carbon sequestration. As home to 80% of terrestrial biodiversity, forests play a vital role in conserving biodiversity and combating pollution. Beyond their environmental benefits, forests are essential natural resources for our socio-economic development, especially in developing countries like ours, providing livelihoods for the majority of our population.
Meanwhile, Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Lands and Forestry Committee is criticizing government's Green Ghana project, calling it out for its inadequate approach, lack of transparency and minimal impact on the environment. Among the concerns Mr. Ayine raises is the 28 million old seedling supplies for 2021 and 2022, the lack of transparency in procurement processes and lack of data to back claims of planting 42 million trees. We can hear the Member of Parliament, Sohini, actually, who's been speaking on the AM show.
We at the committee a number of times have requested to even get data from the ministry to be able to do our own assessment. If we had that data, I'm sure by now as a committee we would have even traveled around the country on our own to assess the impact of this. But the ministry will continue to promise to give us that data, but has not been forthcoming with the data. But you see, what is obvious in the implementation is that, one, we do not know how contracts for supply of seedlings are awarded. What we hear around the corridors of power at the ministry and at the Forestry Commission is that these contracts are just handed over to people without any competitive bidding at sometimes very fantastic prices. I am allocated seedlings every year to assist in the Green Ghana exercise. And in some years, I have taken part. I have actually gone for the allocations. There are times that I think last 2 years or last year, I don't remember, I wasn't in town, so I told them to give it to those who were willing to, other agencies or organizations that were willing to plant them. But I'm saying that no one has ever even come to me to find out where I have planted the trees that are allocated to me. And I'm sure it's same for many colleagues because MPs are usually given these allocations. Okay. No one has ever come to find out where did you plant the seedlings. So
Al-Hassan,
and how are they performing?
Al-Hassan, yes. In a nutshell, it also means that if you have not been checked on in terms of the survival of your seedlings, then how can we say, I mean, how can even the figures we are bandying about be correct?
Be correct. Right? Exactly. That is my point. Even if the seedlings I have been given, no one has come to find out how they are faring. No one has ever checked on where they were planted and how they are faring. And I'm sure I speak for many out there who have received these seedlings and perhaps
gullies, trenches, pools of water, erosion and dust are a common feature on the Kwewu-Afram Plains Road. The stretch is a major access and land route after crossing the Volta River using the Kwewu Ridge. For years, the stretch has not felt bitumen. The situation is creating insecurity among commuters using the stretch. Joy News' MFA Chiamwa early traveled the stretch and now reports teachers, health workers often refuse posting to districts because of poor access. There's more in this report.
The poor state of road impacts everything in and around Afram Plains. One of the most significant issues is the huge teacher deficit, as educators refuse posting to the districts, which is struggling with educational challenges. Businesses are grinding to a halt, and school children fear for their lives.
The street light is not more there, so you be afraid. So yeah. All the time you be afraid. So if I wake up, if I'm going to school, car can hit me. My father have motor. Every time, my father will be complaining all the time. Our road there is not nice. Even as for this road, all the time accidents can happen. Yeah. Even motor, if you driving motor and then you will not be careful all the time. As for these potholes can cause accidents and then so accidents will be going on like all the time. So as for Dongo Chrome, our road is not nice, so you have to help us.
In March 2023, government dismissed a joint statement by members of Parliament of Afram Plains to the effect that the Roads Ministry had diverted funds meant for the construction of that stretch to its stronghold. According to the Roads Ministry, the reallocation of a $98 million facility, an initial contribution from government for the construction of that road, was due to the 2023 debt restructuring exercise. It stated that the decision to apply the allocation under the $750 million Afrexim Bank facility was specifically to cater for the Apedja to Ejuso section of the Accra-Kumasi Highway. This raises the question, it's been over 7 years. What happened to the sourcing of funds for the Afram Plains roads?
I've been to the regional highways, I've been to the National Highways Authority, I've been to the road minister. Our request, our proposals has been to the former road minister, not the current, Honorable Amwakwanta. I've been to him, I've been to the regional highways director Okuto, Engineer Okuto, and we've been to the national. All this, myself, my colleague at TRC Evans, we've did all this movement.
The poor state of roads in Afram Plains is the biggest worry for residents, followed by the need for quality education and addressing the teacher deficit. But the question remains, how long will they have to cry and demand repairs before their pleas are heeded?
Ideally, this stretch traveling from Eche Amamfrom to Afram Plains should take you just 45 minutes. But the new team has had to travel for 2 good hours. And that's even because of the vehicle we are using. I'm just wondering, assuming they are supposed to be using the everyday commercial vehicle, a motorcycle or a bicycle, and you're trying to catch the pontoon, what happens? Forget about the state of the roads. The stretch has become so isolated, creating issues of insecurity. What do you expect? To be traveling on this stretch at night when you are not sure of your next step. School children are afraid to travel the stretch. People needing health care are afraid to travel the stretch. Health workers, teachers will not accept posting to this community because of the state of the road. When we say deprived Ghana, this is a typical example of deprivation.
As a report by Mefeti Amoeli. Now, management consultant Akosia Bame has charged Ghanaians to step forth and protect Ghana's natural resources against mismanagement. Ghana's forest reserves and water bodies have come under siege, under attack in recent years due to the activities of illegal mining. Speaking at our latest public lecture on how to foster a way out of Ghana's current economic and social challenges, Akosia Bame said there must be a total revolution of mindset to confront the challenges. There's more in this report.
Looking beyond the Fourth Republic towards nation building, the case for citizen mindset revolution. That is the theme that assembled thought leaders and ordinary citizens alike on the latest Joy News public lecture. Speaking on the subject on how Ghana can charter a new path through its challenges, management consultant Akosia Bame first established that the problems of the country is not about the competence of our leaders.
Is incompetence the cause of corruption? Is it incompetence when successive governments reward themselves with ex gratia payments, V8s, all manner of allowances, while 60% of citizens languish in poverty, barely able to afford a meal a day? Is it incompetence that causes our leaders to watch people die at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital's dialysis unit due to an unpaid bill of 4 million Ghana cedis? No. I hesitate to lay these behaviors and actions at the door of incompetence alone. Frankly, what masquerades as incompetence is a much more sinister and insidious problem which needs to be called by its name, the mindset of our leaders.
She said one of Ghana's current problems of illegal mining can only be resolved if the youth step up to confront the menace.
America's Central Intelligence Agency puts the worth of Ghana's unmined minerals based on prices prevailing on the world market at $10 trillion. Assuming the estimate of $10 trillion to be true, each of the 34.5 million Ghanaians' share of the unmined minerals equates to approximately $290,000. Yes, their one share in this one asset class has that value. This, in a country where the majority is unlikely to handle even $50,000 in their lifetime, is a travesty indeed. So, citizens, knowing the value of your one share in this single asset class, will you continue to sit idly by and watch successive governments plunder and mismanage your wealth? I surely hope not.
Research fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, Kwame Sapong-Asiedu, also expounds reasons for some of the current challenges facing Ghana's health sector.
We, each of us who goes into a supermarket, pays an NHIS levy. In your wisdom, you pay that money so that it will be set aside to be used when you are unwell if you are registered with the NHIS. However, we got told in 2017 by others that though we, in our wisdom, had paid those monies, they knew better how to use the monies we had set aside for our health. Unfortunately, we looked on whilst they took the money and said nothing. Sadly, we now complain that the NHIS has no money and that our cards are not functional. What were we expecting when we sat down, lamely, for them to take the money?
Another major issue confronting Ghana's economy is the continuous depreciation of the Ghana cedi against major international currencies.
Let's take a break on Joy News today. We'll be back with business.
Hello, welcome to the business segment on Joy News today with me, Emma Davis. Gwel PLC at its annual general meeting has kept its dividend to shareholders at 0.056 pesos per share for the 2023 financial year. This will amount to 22 million cedis. The company recorded a dip in profit after tax of 54.7 million cedis, which represents 55% fall. Board chairman of the company, Reginald Daniel Lai, explained that the adoption of sound financial, operating and marketing strategies enabled the company to post the result.
Gwel PLC on its assets noted that even though the consolidated total asset decreased from 4.6 billion Ghana cedis in 2022 to 4 billion cedis in 2023, the consolidated non-current asset, including property, plant and equipment, grew from 1.4 billion cedis in 2022 to 1.6 billion cedis in 2023, representing a 14.58% increase. This highlights the company's continued investment in key assets to support future growth and sustainability.
Even though the consolidated total assets decreased from 4.6 billion in 2022 to 4 billion in 2023, the consolidated non-current assets, including property, plant and equipment, grew from 1.4 billion in 2022 to 1.6 billion in 2023, representing a 14.58% increase. This highlights our continued investment in key assets to support future growth and sustainability. Additionally, the modest current earnings per share (EPS) of 0.14 Ghana cedis showcase our resilience and ability to generate returns for shareholders even in extremely difficult times. I would like to take this opportunity to express my profound appreciation for your steadfast support and confidence in your company. Your shareholding is highly valued and cherished. Therefore, despite the challenges we faced, the board has made the decision to maintain and recommend a dividend payment of 0.56 per share, reflecting our commitment to shareholder value and our optimism.
Managing Director of GOIL PLC, Kwame Prempeh, said the company will continue to showcase its resilience and its ability to generate returns for shareholders as a demonstration of keeping faith with them even in times of difficulties.
For CSR, you should consider some of the victims of the Jones. In fact, the CSR cuts across everybody. If there is a need for us to do something, we will do, but not to implicate ourselves or consider we are liable for what the unfortunate event there. We do it as far as possible because they are Ghanaians who are suffering. So just as we are doing for every Ghanaian, you do it. We do that. But we are very cautious in commenting on or doing anything which may be interpreted as undermining the case in court.
GOIL noted that it has identified a strategic partner with whom it has signed a farm-out agreement with after the conducting mutual due diligence. The signing of a new farm-out agreement follows the pull-out and exit of ExxonMobil from the Deepwater Cape Freeport Block Petroleum Agreement.
Now, shareholders of EcoBank Transnational Incorporated will not enjoy any dividend for 2023. This is despite the record revenue posted last year and profits before tax reaching $500 million. George Wiafe has more from Lomé, Togo, where the bank is holding its annual general meeting.
The annual general meeting brought together managing directors, chairmen from the various subsidiaries, and shareholders across the region to deliberate on financials for the bank last year. EcoBank Transnational Incorporated, the parent company for EcoBank Ghana, had gone through a similar path in the past in terms of not paying dividend due to challenging results at that time. However, it resumed payment for dividend from 2021. Therefore, it was the expectation of shareholders that following the record performance for last year, they were assured of some dividend payment for last year. But speaking at the bank's annual general meeting in Lomé, Togo, Group Chairman Alan Okoshaw said that they needed to go this way to help recapitalize some of their subsidiaries, including EcoBank Ghana.
We are finding ourselves in a situation where we need to prioritize safety, strength, from a regulatory perspective to start with, in order to basically continue our journey towards value creation. So yes, it might sound a bit frustrating to have a situation where the top line looks quite commendable, but on the other side, dividend not being paid. But what we just, or at least from my own perspective as I'm moving forward, is to deal with the management and the new board on what they committed to achieve, and I'm very confident, as the outgoing director and the shareholder, that this is actually going to be delivered, and hopefully we will go back on the path of consistent dividend, payment throughout the years.
Group Chief Executive Jeremy Awori on his part was excited that some good times ahead for the banks based on what they are doing now.
We are developing new propositions, we're investing in technology, we're investing in our people, and you will see more about that. And we were very pleased last week to be voted the SME Bank of the Year by the African Banker Awards, which shows the early progress that we're making on making a difference within the SME sector. So we're committed, we believe we can make a difference, we're a growing business, and we're excited to be stepping forth, and we're optimistic about the prospects for Africa and the prospects for our business, and we're counting on all your support as we embark on this new exciting journey under the new leadership of Papa.
Ecobank Transnational Incorporated witnessed some strong growth in other areas of its operations apart from revenue and profit before tax.
That'll be all for business. I am Emma Davis. For more business news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Up next is sports. Please stay.
Let's do sports now on JN Today. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, Ghana coach Otuado has admitted his side struggled to cope with Mali despite their victory in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. The Black Stars conceded 2 shots on target early on and went behind following a goal by Kamore Doumbia in the first half. However, Ernest Nuyama and Jordan Ayew scored in the second half to ensure victory for the Black Stars.
Big problems in the first 20 minutes. Mali made good pressing. We had difficulties to stand firm, and we allowed too many chances. After that, I think the tempo of the game went down, and we controlled the game to the half break. It was a little bit unnecessary to get the 0-1. I think it was also a little bit a lucky goal. But in the second half, we came back strong. I think we deserved to make the equalizer. We had some good crosses, some good chances, which we went in, and then we scored. And then also, after Mali made some changes, we had some difficulties. They brought some freshmen. And so we also, I think, made 2 changes. And this is very, very important for the team to understand that this is a team. Not only the first 11 decides the game, also those who come from the bench. And Fatau did a good job in pressing, winning the ball. Jordan was there and scored. And at the end, it was a little bit lucky maybe to score. But I think in all well deserved, and we played good under these circumstances. 42 degrees, very, very hot for us. I think we did well, and to finish this game here as a winner. Okay. I can't say. I think we had a very good start.
To the Ghana Premier League, let's check out the fixtures for match week 33. We've got exciting matches to look forward to. Samatex, they have already won the Ghana Premier League by itself with the battle for relegation. So Royal Tamale United will come up against Asante Kotoko. Hearts of Lions or Accra Lions, instead they play Dreams FC. Kerala United lock ons with Samatex. Hearts of Lions face Legon Cities. Bofokatano welcome Brekum Chelsea. Diana FC lock ons with Nswatriman. Gold Stars take on Midiama. Nations FC face Bechem United. And we have the Garmanche Derby. Hearts of Oak, they play Great Olympics. Now, as clubs battle for survival in the league, some have already secured promotion to the top flight. One such team is Young Apostles. They arrived in Wenchi yesterday, and the atmosphere was lively. Take a look.
Captain Fantastic. Jealous Papa. Jealous Papa. I'm the only jealous Papa in the world. The original. And I'm known to you.
And that's how we end the sports segment on JN Today. My name is Haruna Mubarak.
Good afternoon, you welcome to the Showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline and Suma Yabwa. Now to our first story. The second edition of the African Cinema Summit was launched yesterday at the Accra Tourist Information Center. This year's summit aims to build on past successes, promoting collaboration, innovation, and sustainable growth in the African cinema industry. We have more in this report.
The
The inaugural African Cinema Summit held last year attracted filmmakers from 20 African countries to Ghana. They engaged in various discussions on advancing cinema across the continent. The 2024 summit is set to focus on growth in quality of local content production and consumption, driving the case for increased cinema investment. In his address, David Donto, the board chairman of the National Film Authority, emphasized the summit's impact and future potential.
And especially for film, which actually goes a very long way and stays for so many years, it's important for us to understand that the Africa Cinema Summit is something that has come, like the minister said, to document our history, our culture, our people, everything about us, so that when we are not there, these seeds that we sow today will generate for succeeding generations to really come to know and understand that there lived in this country some people who took particular interest in the development of the film industry.
Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mark Okreku-Mantse, announced that the government is initiating tax waivers for filmmakers in Ghana.
Juliet Asante and her team forwarded the document to us that they wanted a tax waiver for the film industry. It's gone to Cabinet, it's gone to AG's office. AG has replied, asking some questions. I'm just coming from Parliament. So we are discussing. But unfortunately, when it comes to governance issues, things that the private sector could do in weeks, with public service, it could take months. And so I just want you to know that your sister, your auntie, your mother is working hard to make sure that there's some relief for filmmakers. I pray that the industry will show interest. It is not only a Juliet Asante conversation.
This initiative aligns with the recent promise by the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party to provide tax incentives for the creative sector if elected. Exciting times ahead for the African film industry. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
Well, ever thought your life would take an unexpected turn? Well, the paramount chief of the Gatland, Ni Takiteku Churu II, certainly didn't. From aspiring to be a man of God to becoming a chief, his journey is full of surprises.
Ga Mantse Ni Takiteku Churu II, the paramount chief of the Ga land, shared his fascinating life story with Lexus Bell on Joy FM's personality profile. Born in Accra, he revealed that his childhood dream was to be a man of God.
I wanted to be a man of God.
Okay. You know, the only thing that stood out for me is the tense.
Yeah.
It is a wanted to. Is it too late?
It is.
It's too late.
Well, I'm doing God's work.
You're doing God's work now. But why did you want to be a man of God?
Apparently, in my whole life, you know, my mother always had a gift, you know, from Divine Healers Church.
Okay.
You know, she could divine and she could prophesy.
That's the same place that she got a prophecy about her child.
Yes. And then also, she had a gift of healing. And I think that I had that transference.
But wait, there's more. Did you know that the Ga Mantse once dabbled in music production? Yes, that was before he donned the traditional garment.
Even with the kind of musicians that I have produced in my life, the kind of music videos that I have produced in my life, they are mostly gospel.
Oh, there you go.
Kusi Berko.
I see. You produce the musicians.
Yes. Collaborations with Daughters, with Juliana Champon, with Pat Anthony. I've done videos, music videos, you know, edited videos, done movies.
And that's not all. The Ga Mantse also lent his voice to many projects as a voiceover artist. Talk about a man of many talents.
But you used to do voiceovers as well.
Yes, I used to do voiceovers. you know, GBC, you know, Gamma Studios, which is now TV3, used to be Gamma Studios. And there was a fine gentleman there called Bediako. He trains voice, you know, for TV presenters and everything. So I had to study voice, you know, and in doing that, you hear Adom FM 106.3. You
and
hear
that's your voice.
Kasapa. You hear Inshira FM 104.5, and all those liners. You hear Ghana Most Beautiful, Ghana Most Strongest. There are companies like IK who bought my voice for the whole year.
From music production to voiceovers, the Mantse's journey, his diverse talent, is truly unique. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline Ansma Yeboah.
On that note, is a wrap for the showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah. Over to you, Aisha.
It was actually refreshing hearing the government speak.
Yeah.
And also to hear that the Asantehene is coming to Accra.
Sunday.
They're actually making culture beautiful.
Very beautiful.
And I think I'm enthused about it. Thank you for bringing us showbiz. That'll be 8 for the bulletin. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjournline.com for more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Over there you will see Achimeswam Tenshing as chiefs demand immediate transfer of police commander. And there is more when you log on. Do enjoy the rest of our programs, and I'll see you again at 2.